We turn now to the budget 27 hours on. How has the dust settled? Well, it depends who you ask. We hear from people in the education sector next. But first, to look at the numbers. Accusations over which political party spent more or would have spent more and how it was spent have been flying back and forth in the post-budget mop-up. Politicians from Labour and National addressed business leaders today to either praise or critique yesterday's numbers. Here's our political reporter, Craig McCulloch.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Finance, Grant Robertson.
The Finance Minister fronting up to a business lunch in Wellington, making the case for his first budget and fielding questions from the audience. Though, it must be said, not many.
It's a perfect budget. I knew it was.
Not according to National. This is the tax and spend budget, it says. It's borrow and hope. The chief attack lines are as follows: broken promises and bad priorities.
There's one word to describe it: Winston.
National's leader, Simon Bridges, says the government's funnelled money into portfolios overseen by New Zealand First and its leader, Winston Peters. For example, nearly $1 billion in foreign aid and foreign affairs.
And you make all sorts of arguments actually about how that's not a bad thing to do, albeit I'd say when you're not doing the universally cheaper GPs you promised, when you're not funding mental health that you promised, it's kind of a strange priority.
The government has put up some funding for mental health, $10.5 million over 3 years for a project for 18 to 25-year-olds. But it's also taken the $100 million pool which National had set aside and folded it back into the wider health budget. Here's the Health Minister, David Clark.
What I will say about that $100 million that was talked about before, that was never appropriated. So that's kind of ghost money. We're actually spending money on mental health and we're making a start. Of course there'll be more to do, but I'm really proud of the start we've made.
The government's also waiting to hear back from its mental health inquiry in October. National has also turned its sights on the entire health budget, yesterday's biggest headline winner.
Actually, in health, I could make the case quite clearly to you. They are dollar for dollar doing a bit less.
But National is including a one-off pay equity settlement, which the courts ordered it to pay last year. If you take that out, Labour is spending roughly $1 billion more than National in this budget.
You've got to compare apples with apples.
Here's another attack line you may have heard on the radio this morning from National's finance spokesperson, Amy Adams.
We certainly wouldn't have cut $200 million from Pharmac as this budget's done.
Fake news. In terms of Pharmac, they've actually put a statement out to clarify that what we're doing is putting them in charge of the overall pharmaceutical purchasing. Their bulk buying power means that they will be able to generate what they project to be those savings over the next 4 years. The actual budget for the combined pharmaceutical budget's actually gone up, and so we're very pleased with what we've been able to do there.
With both parties at each other's throats, the irony is, in many ways, it's a budget which looks like it could have been delivered by either National or Labour. But Grant Robertson says this is just the beginning. Next year he'll be back with budget number 2. From Parliament for Checkpoint, Craig McCulloch.